Restructuring. El-Rufai is a pathological liar, Saraki says. Wow. I know that this issue of restructuring that everybody is talking about is just a campaign tool to use it to get into the mind of many Nigerians, especially middle belt and southern Nigerians, you know. So we know that it's a lip service that they're playing to the gallery. They really don't mean it. Both PDP and APC saying they will restructure Nigeria. They would not want to restructure Nigeria because the northern agenda will not let them do so. So let's see what Saraki has to say more about, calling El-Rufai a pathological liar concerning restructuring. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki had described as a lie claimed by Governor Nasser El-Rufai of Kaduna State that former frustrated and restructuring plan of the All Progressive Congress through a constitutional amendment process. Can you imagine? Governor El-Rufai made the allegation during a TV interview. Saraki, who was Senate President between 2015 and 2019, reacted through a statement signed by his spokesman Yusuf Olaniyonu on Friday. Okay, so according to former Kwara State Governor, El-Rufai's statement is not only false but also indicative of how the Kaduna State Governor is fond of making excuses and trading blames to explain his failure and that of his party. The statement of Mr. Olaniyonu continued. El-Rufai claimed he and his party prepared a report on restructuring and engaged with the National Assembly leadership to amend the Constitution in 2018, when, as of February 2016, more than 2 years earlier, the 8th National Assembly had commenced the constitutional amendment process by setting up committees in both chambers. Members of the committees traversed the entire country and came up with reports and draft bills. By 2018, as El-Rufai mentioned, President Muhammadu Buhari had commenced assent to constitutional amendment bills. Out of the 32 constitution bills considered by the National Assembly, 24 secured the required number of votes on the floor of both chambers. Also, when the 24 were sent to the State House of Assembly, only 12 bills got the required votes. This same El-Rufai was one of the governors that frustrated the passage of most of the bills by state houses of assembly. Eventually, the president assented to 5 of the 12 bills submitted to him in 2018 and refused to sign 7 others. Even then, it will be interesting to ask the Kaduna State Governor how his state has implemented important restructuring bills passed by 8 National Assembly headed by Saraki that have been signed into law, like the Financial Autonomy for State Legislature and Judiciary Act. Can you imagine? So if the APC was elected into power in 2015 and El-Rufai and his cohorts were talking about amending the constitution to implement restructuring 3 years later, when the government had less than a year to end of his first tenure, the restructuring agenda must be an afterthought or a less important one on the hierarchy of issues on the APC split. Right? It should also be noted that it has been a clear 44 months since Saraki left office as Senate President, and within that period, El-Rufai and his party has the Senate President they want and the type of Senate they want. Yet, they have not done anything to restructure Nigeria. We have not seen the so-called excellent report of his committee being translated into bills and assented to by the president. He even claimed his committee drafted restructuring bills. El-Rufai should tell Nigerians if Saraki is also the one that is responsible for the high level of insecurity which has escalated from just the northeast to a menace that has now engulfed the whole of Nigeria under the APC administration. We need him to tell Nigerians if the former Senate President is responsible for the collapsing state of the economy, spiraling inflation, huge cost of living, extremely low standard of living across the country, endemic poverty in the land, the foreign exchange rate that has moved from 200 in exchange for $1 to 740 to $1. The high level of youth unemployment, the high rate of oil theft, the alarming rate of borrowing by the government, the high rate of disunity among the component units that make up the country, and other ills bedeviling the country under the APC administration. Man, these are so many things that happened under this, that escalated seriously under this administration. Since the Kaduna State Governor is an expert in manufacturing excuses and blames trading, he should tell us why the APC government, all right, to which he belongs, has not been able to provide good governance to Nigerians, and why the party is struggling to appeal to voters to reward their failure. We can see that in addition to his job as state governor, he has now become the spokesperson of a failing presidential campaign, as he struts from one television station to the other, making vile threats, throwing abuses, and spewing lies. The day of reckoning will soon be here. Nigerians will surely not reward failure. We surely not reward failure or buy cheap lies. All right. So that is what Saraki is writing through his spokesperson as well. Okay. So all the things that El-Rufai is saying, that in 2018 his own committee drafted a beautiful restructuring bill, is a lie, and that is what Saraki is coming here to debunk. All right, through his spokesman Yusuf Olaniyono. Okay, that what El-Rufai is saying is a lie. All right, it was already drafted when Saraki was the Senate president, and that document was about 24 of them. Okay, and after the report came out, and about 24 bills, 12 went to state house of assemblies, and out of that 12, only 5 got signed or voted for by the state house of assembly. Okay, and even at that, only 12 came out. Okay, and Buhari signed only 5 out of all of that. And out of the one that was signed, one of them is local government autonomy in the state in terms of funding. And so Saraki is saying we should even ask El-Rufai, even the ones that were approved by President Buhari that time, which one has he implemented in his own state? And is coming to tell everybody about restructuring. So, and they're also saying we should ask El-Rufai to explain if Saraki is also responsible for those ones that were approved that he did not implement in his own state. If Saraki is responsible for the high cost of living, high inflation, low standard of living, and insecurity in the country, low youth unemployment in the country, and a lot of negative vices that are bedeviling Nigeria as of today. Is El-Rufai still, is Saraki still responsible for those things? Right? We should also ask El-Rufai, all right, if in this government right now, APC has the Senate and the House of Rep. They have put the Senate president and the Speaker of the House of Rep they want there. So why can't they also go forward to approve the remaining ones of those bills, restructuring bills that and constitutional amendment that are still pending? Or why have they not done new ones? All right. And he is also asking, if Buhari took over government in 2015 and it's at 2018, they are looking at, they came out with constitutional amendment and restructuring bills. Why would they come out when it's just 1 year for that tenure to finish? It means that they were playing lip service. They were not serious. That is what it means. So Saraki has come out, to tell, El-Rufai that the claim that they were in charge or they brought out a constitutional amendment and restructuring bill in 2018 was a big lie. All right, and to call him a pathological liar for that matter. So we're expecting El-Rufai to come out and defend that, because we know that El-Rufai, whatever he says, is saying it as a lip service, is not in his mind. After all, the killing in Southern Kaduna, he has not done anything about it. He's rather supporting, giving a tactical support to the bandits and the jihadists in Kaduna that are causing all the problem everywhere. He will play lip service about security management, but he is not doing anything about it. He's happy to see the Christians in Santa Kaduna being killed. All right? It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate that we know that El-Rufai is part of the Kaaba. Rather, he is supporting All Progressive Congress campaign that's currently nosediving, because everything about APC now is nosediving. Their government has failed. They can't. They are struggling now to force Nigerians to reward their failure in the next election that is coming in about a few weeks' time, and they are struggling to do that. All right, with their presidential candidate causing problem everywhere in a presidential campaign outings. So this shows that right now APC is struggling to breathe fresh air. They don't have air to breathe. They are currently snuffing themselves out. That is what we see from them. They can't force Nigerians to vote them because they have failed Nigerians in all ramifications. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment below concerning what Saraki is saying, calling El-Rufai a pathological liar about restructuring of Nigeria.